Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Well, the market shenanigans continue, and it seems like 99% of us are in the same boat. We all felt a palpable change in the market last week, and this week it seems to continue. Some blame it on the global IT outage that happened, but honestly, I have no idea. But let's go ahead and look at what's going on in the general market, how things have changed, and then we'll look at specifics for dry vans, reefers, and flatbeds. Ready? Let's go! Okay, as always, we start with the net change in carrier population. So, as of last week, we lost another 88 carriers net. Now, if we take a look at the contract versus spot market, which tells us how much more contract carriers are earning than those spot carriers, you can see the dark blue line is us in 2024 being compared to 2023. You see that the gap actually increased over the past few weeks and contract carriers were earning significantly more, but there was just a tiny turnaround, and currently contract carriers are earning on average 55 cents per mile more than those spot carriers. Now, in terms of freight volumes, we're comparing the white line, us in 2024, to the blue line in 2023. And still, as always, volumes are above 2023 levels. However, that gap is starting to decrease as you see the volume start coming down. What about those rejections? Well, on the rejection side, you can see the white line. We saw a huge drop in rejections, although over the past few days, it did go up just a little bit, and currently rejections are at 4.57%. It's honestly horrific. I am not going to sugarcoat it here. Now, when we talk about diesel prices have been going down steadily, thankfully, and currently we are at $3.83 per gallon on a national average. All right, now let's talk about spot market conditions, starting with dry vans. And for those of you who are new, I get this data from FTR Intel. So week over week, dry vans saw a 1 cent decrease in the average rate per mile, as you can see, although year over year rates are 1.6% higher. Now, over 5 years, rates are actually 11% lower. And someone did mention, but how can we take the 5-year average when there was COVID in the middle of all of it? And you're absolutely right. So the best way to compare it is year over year. Now, volumes week over week went down by 1.1% for dry vans. Year over year, they're down 8%. And over the past 5 years, they are down 30%. Now, what are the better market areas for dry vans? As always, we look at these two maps by Sonar, rejections and volumes, to figure out where more volume from the contract market actually falls to the spot market. But first, let's talk about the top 5. In terms of volume, the top 5 market areas for dry vans doesn't mean they're the best, but the top 5 are Ontario, California, Atlanta, Georgia, Los Angeles, California, Detroit, Michigan, and Dallas, Texas. Now, in terms of the top 5 when it comes to rejections on the dry van side, again, doesn't mean that these are the best market areas, but those are Cedar Rapids, Iowa, the rejection percentage is in the brackets, Roanoke, Virginia, Dubuque, Iowa, Des Moines, Iowa, and Rock Island, Illinois. Now, if we put the volumes and rejections together, then we get the best market areas in terms of more loads going from the contract side to the spot market. And those top 5 are Ontario, California, Los Angeles, California, Houston, Texas, Atlanta, Georgia, and Dallas, Texas. Now, in terms of reefers on the spot market saw a 3-cent decrease week over week. Although year over year, reefers are seeing rates that are 2% higher than the same time last year. Now, in terms of the 5-year average, rates are down by 8%. Now, volumes. Week over week, volumes are down 3.1%. Over the past year, volumes are down 7%, and over the past 5 years, down 30%. But what are the better market areas for those reefers? Again, we're looking at the sonar map, and I just condensed it into a table version. In terms of the volume states, where there is most volume for reefers in the general market, not the spot market, those are Joplin, Missouri, Allentown, Pennsylvania, Joliet, Illinois, Lakeland, Florida, and Fort Worth, Texas. Now, if we look at the top 5 rejection market areas, those are Quincy, Illinois, St. Cloud, Minnesota, Bismarck, North Dakota, Memphis, Tennessee, and Minneapolis, Minnesota. Now, putting these two together, we get the top 5 areas where more contract freight hits the spot market. Those are Joplin, Missouri, Fort Worth, Texas, Joliet, Illinois, Fresno, California, and Ontario, California. Last but not least, we have our flatbeds. Flatbeds saw a 2-cent decrease week over week on the spot market, and year over year, the rates are down 0.2%. Over the past 5 years, flatbed rates are down 7%. Now, volumes actually increased for flatbeds by 5.3% since last week and 38% year over year. However, if we look at the 5-year average, volumes are down 23%. Now, as always, I do not have sonar maps for flatbeds, but I make my own using truck stop data. So first, let's look at where the loads are coming out of. And again, there is no change since last week or last month or 2 months ago. Most of the loads are coming out of the southern states, as well as the Midwestern and Eastern area, and California. Plain states right here, they have absolutely nothing for flatbeds. Now let's take a look at truck capacity. Where do flatbeds hang out? Again, the darker it is, the more flatbeds in the area, and we can see Texas and Florida are the 2 states that have the most capacity when it comes to the flatbed market. But in general, it's some of the Midwest, some of the East Coast, and California. The northern states don't really have much capacity. But this doesn't mean anything to us unless we put the two together to figure out the load to truck ratios. So red is overcapacity. These are places where there is less than a load per truck. Beige, like the West Coast, all of the West Coast, this is about 1 load per truck. Yellow, which is not on this map, usually is 2 loads per truck, but there is no such area this week. And green, which is right here, this is over 3 loads per truck. The market is very, very bad for flatbeds at the moment. It's getting worse for the most part. And quite honestly, it's becoming more and more challenging to find those loads. I think many will agree with me that the worst part of working in a market like this is not the fact that the rates are bad or the fact that there's not enough volume relative to capacity. No, it's the fact that when you finally get adapted to the crap that the market offers you, all of a sudden it changes for the worse. It's like a damn roller coaster and I am getting whiplash. Again, I can handle stable bad, but when you have to adapt to something worse and worse and worse, multiple times a week, well, it's safe to say that now I know the reason why I'm going gray on one side. New trucking marketing campaign. Are you sick of your hair color and want to change it and lighten it up without having to dye your hair? Get into trucking. You will be gray within 6 months. Results guaranteed. Anyway, guys, I know that we're all having a difficult time at the moment, and the only thing we can do is be patient. So that's exactly what I'm wishing for you guys. Patience, luck on your side, and continued success. See you guys in the next video.